Hi, I'm Richard Kretz, master naturalist, birder, caver, and explorer, specializing in far southwest Virginia. Allow me to introduce you to the natural beauty of the Clinch Mountain Wildlife Management Area, known locally as Big Tumbling. Before exploring Clinch Mountain, we'll take a brief historical look at the area. Next, we'll provide an overview of its layout, birds, and wildflowers. Finally, you'll join Tammy and I on a quest for the Holy Grail of Wildflowers in Virginia, wild hyacinth. An adventure is far from the romantic notion of a good time. It's a perilous predicament where one's life may well dangle in the balance, and often does. One wrong move or bad decision can end your life tragically, instantly. The only romantic aspect of an adventure is in its retrospective telling upon surviving. So lace up your hiking boots, grab plenty of water and a snack, bug repellent, your hiking stick, your camera, and shoulder your pack. Join us as we venture forth into the depths of flower-covered Panther Lick, where potential danger lurks at every step. Located at the base of Clinch Mountain, along the bottomlands of the North Fork of the Holston River, is the historic town of Saltville. It's where the southern Appalachians meet the Allegheny Mountains that run up into Canada. Since time immemorial, its salt ponds, remnants of what was once a shallow inland sea, have been important. At the Downtown Museum of the Middle Appalachians, you can enjoy the skeleton of a woolly mammoth and other fossils that were excavated here, Native American artifacts, and learn about Spanish conquistadors who came through the area, as well as colonial history. The Yuchi settled here long ago and traded salt with other tribes. They also grew corn in the fertile bottomlands of the Holston River. The Spanish conquistador Juan Pardo's men, commanded by Sergeant Moyano, raided the Yuchi settlement in 1567. When Europeans settled the area, they too extracted salt from the briny waters using wells. In the mid 1700s, George Washington visited the area during a hunting trip. And during the Civil War, Saltville was the salt capital of the Confederacy and home of the flamboyant Confederate cavalry general, Jeb Stuart. In the southwest corner of the Clinch Mountain Wildlife Management Area is Beartown Mountain, one of the highest summits in Virginia. Centered above Saltville are large red sandstone cliffs known as Red Rock Mountain. Silurian Tuscarora sandstone is highly visible on its crest. Below the crest, the sandstone has been eroded by the weather, exposing red Ordovician age Juniata Formation in vertical cliffs that give it its name. Part of the cliff is called Burning Rock Wall. At the cliff base is Red Rock Cove, where an artist camp was established in the 1930s because of the spectacular natural scenery. To the northeast are the white limestone cliffs of White Rock Mountain, capped by bright white Silurian Tuscarora sandstone that is highly visible on its crest. White Rock is as far west as George Washington traveled in southwest Virginia when hunting with his friend, Colonel William Preston, in the mid 1700s. The Clinch Mountain Wildlife Management Area has the distinction of being the second largest and most biologically diverse wildlife management area in Virginia's Department of Wildlife Resources Management, due in part to its vast differences in elevation. The area is 25,477 acres, spread across Virginia's southwest highlands, occupying parts of Smith, Washington, Russell, and Tazewell counties. It's dominated by mountains rising steeply from narrow valley floors, with elevations ranging from 1,600 feet to 4,700 feet atop Beartown Mountain. Due to differences in elevation, a unique forest has developed. Tree species from both southern and northern forests are found here. The land that forms the Clinch Mountain Wildlife Management Area was virgin forest until the late 1800s, when it was timbered and denuded for farming and grazing livestock. The lush vegetation and trees seen here today are secondary growth less than 100 years old. There is considerable water on the area, numerous high elevation springs and bogs, a 330-acre man made lake, and a major stream, Big Tumbling Creek, that has several tributaries. The mountains form the shape of a heart dissected by Big Tumbling Creek that has a series of waterfalls where the arcs of the heart join. It's possibly why the area is referred to as the heart of Appalachia. From the Clinch Mountain Wildlife Management Area entrance, drive past the muck where the archery range is located across from the supervisor's house, about 2 miles up switchbacks of the one-lane dirt and gravel forest road. The road parallels scenic, trout-stocked Big Tumbling Creek as it splashes down through the narrow gorge over large green, moss-covered boulders under a verdant canopy. A special trout license is required to fish the creek. When you get to the top, there's a series of waterfalls on your left and pull-offs. There's something magical about these falls. You can park and scramble down the embankment to the creek and falls for pictures. The tallest waterfall, Big Falls, is about 15 feet high. Just past the falls of Big Tumbling Creek, there's a road to the left that takes you to Laurel Bed Lake. Laurel Bed is a 300-acre man made recreational lake that was once a high elevation cranberry bog. It's a great place to fish and kayak, and camping is permitted. If, however, you continue straight, the road will take you past a gun range to Panther Lick that's just above Saltville. Panther Lick is a hidden gem of rare and endangered wildflowers. If you visit in late April or early May, the mountainsides are so heavily blanketed by flowers that it looks like snow. Wildflowers are sprinkled all along the roadside, and if you know where to look, you may be lucky enough to stumble upon the Holy Grail of rare wildflowers in Virginia, wild hyacinth. Clinch Mountain Wildlife Management Area is a beautiful but rugged, rocky, forested terrain that is home to a great deal of wildlife. As such, be respectful and be prepared. Here's some do's and don'ts. Don't litter. Pick up after yourself and take your trash with you when you leave. Leave nothing but footprints. Don't interact with, feed, touch, or harass the wildlife. It's for your safety and theirs. Don't pick or collect plants or wildflowers. There are many imperiled plants and wildflowers at the Clinch Mountain Wildlife Management Area. It's against the law to pick or collect them, and you can be fined or jailed. Be prepared. Have an emergency contact. Cell phone service in the mountains is spotty at best. Make sure you notify someone where you intend to be, who you're with, what you will be doing, and when you expect to return. Have a map. Learn about and know the area that you're going to be in. Don't hike alone. Be aware of your surroundings at all times. Be vigilant and on the lookout for bear, big cats, and poisonous snakes and spiders. An encounter is unlikely, but they happen when you least expect it. Spring is gorgeous in the mountains when the flowers are in bloom. It's also when Mama Bear and her cubs are out and about, and snakes are active. Know what to do if a bear is encountered, or if you're bitten by a snake. Wear a hat, long sleeve shirt, long pants, comfortable hiking boots. Use bug spray, and if you're allergic to bees, have an EpiPen. Take plenty of water and a snack. I can't emphasize this enough. Most importantly, be respectful, be prepared, be aware, and have fun. In the 1990s, the Nature Conservancy labeled our region's extraordinary ecological and biological diversity as one of the last great places on Earth. Perhaps the artist Vincent van Gogh described it best when he said, "If you truly love nature, you will find beauty everywhere." We owe a debt of gratitude for the selfless efforts of great men such as Wallace Coffey, Claude Griever, and Doug Ogle, whose tireless efforts have preserved the natural beauty of Southwest Virginia and Clinch Mountain Wildlife Management Area for us to enjoy. There are approximately 500 known rare and endangered species of flora and fauna found in Southwest Virginia. The Clinch Mountain Wildlife Management Area attracts many unique species of birds. For many years, Wallace Coffey was a well known birder and regional driving force for the identification and distribution of birds and conservation of their habitats. The Clinch Mountain Wildlife Management Area is one of the few areas on the East Coast where both bald eagles and golden eagles can be seen. Shorebirds, such as black terns, visit its wetlands and laurel bed lake. Raptors circle overhead and perch in treetops. Ruffed grouse drum in the woods, and the sounds of woodpeckers hammering and cuckoos cawing echoes in the forest. And kinglets, buntings, and vireos flit through the trees and brush along with many species of colorful warblers. Following are images of some of the birds that you might see in the Clinch Mountain Wildlife Management Area. Roughly 1,900 species of trees, shrubs, and herbaceous plants are documented in far southwest Virginia, including approximately 130 species of trees, 76 species of fern and fern allies, almost 40 species of orchids, and 2 dozen violet species. Claude Griever was a respected area naturalist who, along with Doug Ogle from Saltville, worked with federal and state agencies. Their conservation efforts have not only identified and preserved the habitats of many rare and endangered flora, but identified previously undocumented species that were subsequently named after them. The Clinch Mountain Wildlife Management Area hosts many imperiled plants and wildflowers, some of which are found nowhere else in the region, but grow here in abundance. Following are images of just some of the beautiful wildflowers that can be found at the Clinch Mountain Wildlife Management Area. Many years ago, in late April or May, Doug Ogle and I were stomping around the mountains of the Clinch Mountain Wildlife Management Area in the vicinity of Panther Lick, Allison Gap, and Red Rock. It was the time of year when fringed Phacelia and blue-eyed Mary, both of which are imperiled, cover the mountainsides so they look like snow at high elevations. And the dark purple of dwarf larkspur is just beginning to emerge. Doug was kind enough to point out a small patch of wild hyacinth, having beautiful, pale, lavender colored, star shaped flowers. It's a very rare wildflower in our region that's found only in a few remote, hard to access places. It's so rare, in fact, that finding it is like finding the Holy Grail. Over the years, I've made trips in the spring to monitor the sustainability of this rarity. Some years, the patch of wild hyacinth is almost non existent and only a few flowers are found. Other years, it appears to flourish and expand a little, but it's always in the same small, hard to get to area. The phenology questions I've been curious about are: why is it in this specific location? Is it the soil composition? Is it the amount of light and shade? The direction the mountainside faces the sun? Is elevation a factor? What are the impacts of winter weather and the amount of water? This year, our winter was mild. Few days were below freezing. We had almost no snow, a below average amount of rain, and an early spring with warm days and no frost after March. Less than 100 years ago, logging of the original forest denuded the mountains of the Clinch Mountain Wildlife Management Area. Subsequently, the area became pasture used to raise cattle and sheep. In the decades since, forest management of secondary and tertiary growth has reestablished what was extirpated. Could that and time be a factor? When Tammy and I checked on the hyacinth this year, we were wowed. We were surprised by an explosion of growth, finding it flourishing in unexpected places, well beyond where it was found before. What role has phenology for its management and time played? I don't know. What I can tell you is that it was spectacular. Join us as we trek deep into the Clinch Mountain Wildlife Management Area and experience mountainsides so thick with rare white flowers that it looks like snow in May. Join us as we quest for the Holy Grail of wildflowers in Virginia, wild hyacinth.
Huh? It's a mountain mint. That's garlic mustard.
Wow, we found it. The Holy Grail of wildflowers in Virginia, wild hyacinth. It's been a fantastic day. Now it's time to head back.
More Camiscia, wild hyacinth.
Yeah, I saw it. You told me. He says, "Well, they're only up there," and I went, "No, I've seen them."
Well, it's kind of like the unthanked cave snail.
Yeah.
It's only in a small section of the stream, and yet we found it somewhere else. It shouldn't be there. That is like moss cool.
Well, show it to me again.
That is like moss cool.
Well, show it to me again.
Here we've got wild hyacinth, which is a Camiscia. And generally speaking, this is the first that's being found on this section of trail. Up until now, there had only been a small patch about 1/4 of a mile from here, or 1/3 of a mile. And this year it's everywhere. And this is a totally different trail. It shouldn't be here, but here it is. Beautiful wild hyacinth, the Holy Grail of wildflowers in Southwest Virginia. That is like really cool. This purple flower is a dwarf larkspur. It's rather pretty with a deep purple color right now. As it gets older, it'll change colors from this nice deep purple to a whitish color. Now, this flower right here is called fringed phacelia, or scorpion weed. And it's, I believe, an S2G2. It's a threatened or endangered. It's relatively rare, but you can see it has covered the entire mountainside here. And this little flower here, well, here's a better example of it. This flower here is called Blue-Eyed Mary. It too is an S2 or a G2, and it's threatened and endangered. And again, it covers, along with the fringed phacelia, it covers the mountainside here. Absolutely gorgeous. Since we're happen to stop for a moment here, I want to point out that we have a lot of warblers that are nesting and going through their breeding thing right now. And there's some really interesting ones. I've heard Canada warblers. There's, well, the most unique one that I've heard today is a golden wing warbler. I'm fairly certain that's what it was. I wasn't able to get a look at it, but you could hear it flitting through the trees. And it sounded like either a Lawrence or a Brewster's warbler as well, which is a cross of a gold wing warbler and a blue wing. But anyway, the warblers are out in force today. Gorgeous day. It's hot. The bugs are biting the crap out of us, and we're heading back.
Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed our adventure. Until next time, keep exploring, expand your knowledge of the world we live in, and stay safe.